Faith finds hope in uncertainty. Fear doesn't find hope in uncertainty. It's faith. And faith finds hope in uncertainty. And as we get into Exodus chapter 2, this will be the last reference for Exodus for us. As we get into Exodus chapter 2, it begins to tell the story of a certain man and a certain woman and a certain child that was born. And that they weren't willing to let it be known that they had given birth to a boy. And so they tried to keep it quiet. They did this for 3 months until they knew that they couldn't keep the baby quiet any longer. And then Mom took some reeds and she took some tar and she made a basket and she put this little boy in it. And then they put this boy in the river and let it float toward Pharaoh's area, hoping that Pharaoh's daughter would see this child and take it as their own. We'll pick this up, Exodus chapter 2, verse 4. His sister stood at a distance to see what would happen to him. Then Pharaoh's daughter went down to the Nile to bathe, and her attendants were walking along the riverbank. She saw the basket among the reeds, and she sent her female slave to get it. She opened it and saw the baby. He was crying, and she felt sorry for him. "This is one of the Hebrew babies," she said. Then his sister asked Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and get one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby for you?" "Yes, go," she answered. So the girl went and got the baby's mother, who was her own mother as well. And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this baby and nurse him for me, and I will pay you." So the woman took the baby and nursed him. And when the child grew older, she took him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moses, saying, "I drew him out of the water." Moses. The Moses that would go in and lead these people free from captivity. Moses, who God would use, and he'd speak to him face to face as a friend, and then he would use him to deliver God's 10 commandments. Moses, who God would use to lead them to where they could actually overlook and see the land of Israel that they would eventually take and possess as their own land. We have a chapter in our New Testament that is devoted to the heroes of the faith. These guys from the Old Testament that just really stood their ground. It's Hebrews chapter 11, and it's referred to as the Hall of Faith chapter in our Bible. And in Hebrews chapter 11, we get to see how Moses he was growing up. He just refused to be known as Pharaoh's son or Pharaoh's grandson, that he could have been known as that. But he wanted to be known as an Israelite. That he refused to just say, "I'm just going to take all the pleasure of the Egyptians because that's what I am." And he says, "No, I'm an Israelite is what I am. And I would rather stand with God's people than enjoy the sinful pleasures of the world and pretend to be an Egyptian." And Hebrews goes on to say this about Moses. Hebrews 11, verse 25 through 27. He chose to be mistreated along with the people of God rather than enjoy the fleeting pleasures of sin. He regarded disgrace for the sake of Christ as of greater value than the treasures of Egypt because he was looking ahead to his reward. By faith, he left Egypt, not fearing the king's anger. He persevered because he saw him who is invisible.